Hello, Cult. Welcome to Corny's Comedy Corner. What a wonderful crowd you are. Boy, I'll tell you, these days, wrestling jokes, they write themselves. I have been a fan forever, let me tell you, Cult. Well, maybe not forever. Maybe not back when Buddy Rogers and Lou Thesz were around in the territories. By the way, Excalibur wrestled both of them in a handicap match in Tokyo back in '63. But I digress. I have been a fan since about 1983, 7 years old, and I can remember my father mocking me. Why do you love something so fake? Well, apparently, Colt, my father was the voice of the Black Scorpion, but, Daddy, why do I love something so fake? I don't know. Why do you love Mom's silicone tits? Did I mention beautiful crowd tonight? The business sure has changed, huh? The lead screecher of Fozzy used to squeeze on the walls of Jericho. Remember that? Yeah. Now old Chris has to turn sideways just to squeeze through 2 walls. And how about All Elite Wrestling these days? They're all about performing these cunning stunts. Well, remember the WWE divas? They were all stunning. You get it. And remember when the WWF turned into WWE? Oh yes, Vince McMahon told the universe, quote, "Get the F out." Funny, because nowadays the WWE universe says the same thing to him. Yeah, once upon a time, Kurt Angle's 3 eyes ran the WWF. AEW, though, they have one up the Fed. That's right, they're run by 4 eyes. Oh, Tony Khan, Booker of the Year. How did this guy get Booker of the Year? You know who I think would have a problem with that? Well, if you remember Harlem Heat, remember Stevie Ray? His brother might have a problem with that. Yeah, you can't have a Booker of the Year, by the way, without Uncle Dave. And speaking of Uncle Dave, the man who gives 7 stars to matches with 0 stars in them, what's up with that bulbous nose? That Fraggle can still smell what The Rock was cooking 20 years ago, but somehow can't smell the bullshit that spews from the mouths of those EVPs. But yes, these are different times. Take Paul Heyman, for example. Paul E. used to have a cell phone glued to his hand. You couldn't pry it away with the jaws of life. Well, it's kind of the same these days, but instead of a cell phone, it's a sandwich. See, back in the day, guys, called unrealistic bullshit wrestling was played on screen with a Sega. These days, unrealistic bullshit wrestling is played on screen by an Omega. Back in the 80s, we had a tag team called the Killer Bees. Now we have the Time Filler Queeze. Seriously, the Young Bucks, those tampon tunnels, I swear, they get stiffer for Trump than a Road Warriors Malky match. Have I mentioned what a great crowd you are? Now, people are trying to make modern wrestling turn into WCW versus WWE, but it's not the same. In fact, AEW and WWE are actually quite similar. It's true, and I'm going to tell you about it. About 15 years ago, something like that, 20 years ago, the WWE featured Kevin Federline, Britney Spears' ex-husband, and he was a talentless hack who walked around with this undeserved sense of accomplishment. Well, not to be outdone, AEW, they've got Brandy. Or as I call her, Rebby Hardy with a platform. Not platform shoes. Now, I'm not saying she used to be a sturdy stripper, but yeah. AEW, they have a dinosaur that everyone wants to disappear, and that dinosaur is named Luchasaurus. WWE, they have a dinosaur that everyone wants to disappear, and that dinosaur's name is Bruce Pritchard. Lastly, in WWE, the management forbids the talent from saying the following: strap, wrestling, belts. Not to be outdone, in AEW, talent forbids management from saying this word: no. Thank God we have Jim and Brian to get us through wrestling's midlife crisis. Why did it get so bad? Why couldn't it just get an earring like old Tony Schiavone? I got scared the other day. I'm not going to lie. I was listening to the show. Corny did an ad read for codeine, but I heard it as codeine, Codeine, which is this highly addictive painkiller, very popular on the streets. It's a scumbag drug, right? And I couldn't believe that Jim Cornette was wasting airtime talking about the bank-addicted drug robber. I'll tell you this, Colt, if you didn't know, Corny is part of a long-standing relationship between wrestling and fast food. We, of course, know about the Dairy Queen incident. Then back in the 90s, remember Jerry Lawler with the Burger King chants? I think AEW is missing out on an opportunity because they have Bluto on their roster and Popeye's Chicken needs a mascot. It's destiny. And by the way, Miro would even get paid, unlike Tammy Sitch, who was basically free advertising for that burger joint In and Out back in the 90s. I say that according to the internet, so please don't cancel or Me Too me. What a great crowd. Have I mentioned that? Well, I guess I should do what we all wish Pockets would do and take off. I do have one regret about my set. Fellow cult members, you see, comedians, we like to end with a bang, a payoff joke, a high note. But, alas, I don't have one. I, unfortunately, just do not have a payoff. And I guess that is as close to becoming an ECW wrestler as I'm ever gonna get. Thank you, Cleveland. Good night.